Akshita, should we start or should we need to wait for?
Is it all right if we wait for like 5 more minutes?
Sure, sure,
Yeah.
makes sense.
So I guess we can start off the session. So is it all right with yourself?
Yep, awesome. Let's get started.
Okay. So firstly, hi everyone. Thank you all for tuning in this fine evening. I'm Akshita Yerla, the events coordinator of the Alumni Cell of IT Bhubaneswar. So now we're going to kickstart this year's very first alumni talk with Mr. Amitachu, our guest speaker for the evening. So for everyone who hasn't had the opportunity to get acquainted with him, here's a little about him. So he graduated IIT Bhubaneswar in 2021, and following this, he took up the position as the product manager at Kira Belly, where he's currently working. So he was an active student and a member of all major student club activities. He was also the placement coordinator. So I think it's safe to say that he can gauge and estimate what it is that we need to hear right now. So he has like interned at several esteemed organizations. He's worked as a product analyst in Uber, associate product manager at Squadcast, and so on. And so today
Is the event coordinator and international relations at the Alumni Society Bhubaneswar for reaching out to me on LinkedIn and then setting up this session accordingly. So I'll, as you know, Akshita briefly introduced about me. I'm currently working in the core product management team at Kita Bailey. So Kita Bailey is a social e-commerce firm based out in Indonesia. So we operate in 9 different cities in Indonesia, and we have been growing by 30 to 40% month over month. And we have recently closed our Series B funding round at $20 million. So it has been an amazing journey for me. So how I would ideally like to structure this session is we have around 60 minutes allotted. So I'll be taking the first 30 minutes. Okay. In the first 30 minutes, before I start, I will be revealing a gift and a bonus for all the attendees out here. There's a bonus order gift that you guys can take it. It's a task-based bonus order gift that I would like to offer to the attendees of this session, just as a my gratitude giving back to the community of IIT Bhubaneswar. And apart from that, I will take another 20 minutes to walk through you guys about my journey. So I'll be majorly covering my experience in the field, hurdles faced in the process, a message that I would like to give to the ITBBS folks, my inspiration about my college life and how you guys can get started in product management, right? So this all will take around 30 to 35 minutes of the first half of the session. And then the next 30 minutes, Akshita from the event team or someone else will be throwing up questions at me, and we'll be having a fireside chat where I'll be answering the questions by awesome. Cool. All right, let's get started. So like I mentioned, first I would like to walk through you guys regarding the bonus or the gift that you guys can take away from this session, right? So let me just quickly share my screen and walk you through what that bonus or gift is so that you guys be attentive to this session, okay? You guys are able to Excel?
Yes, sir, it's
Akshita, can you
visible.
confirm? Yeah. So look, guys, I have a bonus or a gift that you guys can take out from this session. So I'll be walking you through a lot of things in this session over a span of 1 hour, right? So what I would ideally want you guys is sit with a pen or a paper, or if you have a great memory, well and good. Just take important notes and learnings from this session, okay? And just post it on LinkedIn or Twitter, right? And the motivation behind this task is to get you guys started on LinkedIn and Twitter, which will be very beneficial for you when you start applying for internship or a full-time roles, right? Twitter and LinkedIn are a platform which has helped me immensely, right? So this is one of the kind in which you guys can post the learning of the session that will get you started on LinkedIn and Twitter to gain visibility. Because having a greater visibility on LinkedIn and Twitter, just take a brief note of whatever learnings that you guys have, post it on LinkedIn and Twitter. So the eligibility criteria for this is I need to be tagged on those posts either on LinkedIn or Twitter, right? Uh, the post should be only text based, no images, no screenshots. It should be proper text based learnings that you had from this session, and no copy and paste allowed. Obviously, I'll look for it. And here are my Twitter and the LinkedIn handles, so which obviously the alumni cell will be sharing it to you after the session. So the deadline for this task would be 27 September, 12:30 p.m. IST, and I'll be picking the top 5 posts that has come on LinkedIn or Twitter based on the relevance. Okay, if I like your post, I'll save the author's name, and I will share the top 5 authors' name to the alumni cell team, and they will help you guys get connected with me, and I'll be personally mentoring you guys, all the top 5 folks. I'll be helping them one-on-one sessions to get through the product management space. I'll try to get you a good knowledge about the product management space, the skills required. I'll help you land full-time or the internship roles, whatever you are role, if you are really excited on it, right? So this is a small bonus or a gift, task-based bonus or a gift, just my way to give back to the awesome community at IIT Bhubaneswar. So let me now stop sharing my screen. So this is the bonus or gift. So just be attentive in this session. I hope you guys have a pen and paper alongside you. Just take relevant notes. All right. So now let's move to the second part of the session. Okay, where I'll be majorly walking you guys through my experience, the hurdles I faced, right? So let's start with my experience, right? And basically in my experience, I'll be sharing 3 different things. Okay, how I got started, how I prepared for internships and FT roles, and how has been my experience so far, right? So first question that most of the guys, who have reached out to me on LinkedIn as well, and this is a very common question that goes out in the which interviewers also ask is, why product management? Why have you chosen product management? Given the given the background that I belong from electrical engineering, why product management? Right? This is a very common question that most of you guys will get if you pursue this pursue the product management opportunity. Most of the recruiters will ask you this question as well. So I just want to walk you guys through how I got into this domain and what was the motivation behind it, right? So let me just start sharing my journey. So first year at my college kind of went well. A lot of courses went well. Second year, when I actually got introduced with the core electrical subject, right, I was completely lost. You know, I wasn't finding my classrooms interesting. I wasn't finding my course interesting, right? So second year of my engineering was one of the hardest year in my life. Half of my second year, if I frankly say, I was depressed because I was not interested in electrical. I didn't felt like going to the class. I was actually feeling very horrible that, dude, if electrical engineering is something that doesn't excites you, what is that something which excites you? Because second year is a high time, whether at the end of the second year you should be sure that, okay, this is the career that I want to pursue, right? Because in third year you'll be going for summer internships and then placements, obviously, right? And I saw a lot of folks in and around me, getting internships in the second year summer only. So I was having that peer pressure as well, like, other folks are figuring out their life. Why am I stuck? Why am I stuck? So this was the question I simply asked me, Amit, do you see yourself as working as an electrical engineer down the line after 3 to 4 years? The answer was pretty simple. No, I don't see myself working as an electrical engineer because that is something that doesn't excites me. Right. Then the next question that I asked me during that time was, what do you want to do in your life? Okay, you are not interested in electrical. There has to be something, right, which will excite you, right? So fortunately or unfortunately, probably final year folks here will know, in 2018 we organized an in-house alumni meet at IIT Bhubaneswar, right? So a lot of alumni came onto the campus, and I was one of the member of the alumni cell, so I had a lot of chance to interact with a lot of alumni. So therein I typically saw a trend. Okay, people from civil background, people from mechanical background, people from electrical background, people from metallurgical background, they were actually working as software engineers. They were actually working as business analysts. They were actually working as, product operations, marketing, and whatnot. So I felt that, there are a lot of folks who have done a course in Y, but took up a job in X, right? And that was completely possible because they have done it, right? So during my second time, I used to think that if you are from electrical, you will be mostly placed in electrical roles only, and which was a complete wrong thought that I had. So during that alumni meet in 2018, I just frankly reached out to a couple of alumni, told them that, hey, guys, I'm completely lost. In my second year, I really don't understand what to do in the life. So they just told me one thing, and there were a lot of alumni that I interacted with. I would not take a name, but they just told me that, Amit, start exploring, start finding your niche interest, right? So I was pretty sure that at the end of the third and the mid 4th September, that, I need to start exploring, right? And by start exploring means taking up internships, exploring the different domain to see what excites me, right? So, and in that year only, I got very active on LinkedIn because I saw that in LinkedIn, a lot of people post about the internship requirements, and you can get in touch with them. They may help you in getting landing into an internship. So during my second year, I fortunately got connected with a team in the Career High. So Career High is a platform which is owned by Aman Goyal, who is an ITB grad, the founder of Cogno AI, which recently got acquired by Exotel. So he was looking for a growth intern for his subsidiary platform called Career High. So I frankly reached out to Aman Goyal on LinkedIn. I told them that, hey, I'm looking to explore different journey apart from electrical. Will you be able to accommodate me in your company as a growth intern? So Aman Goyal just throwed out an assignment to me, given the fact that I was from tier 1 college, so I had the leverage over the other peers. So he just throwed out an assignment to me, and I did quite well in assignment because it was just an aptitude based assignment. And then I was had as a growth intern, and this is the second year winter break. You have a complete winter break in December, right? So I interned with career high for 1.5 months, and therein I had a very good experience, looking at the data, helping the company to take data driven decisions, right? So that was my breakthrough. Finally I found something, whole of my second year I was kind of depressed, and now I have actually found something that actually excites me. So I was pretty happy at that point in time that I actually found something, and my interest on data grew from that time, right? I was looking a lot at the website traffic coming in, how to optimize it, what's the funnel conversion, how do you increase the visibility. So a lot of good things that I did in that 1.5 months of internship, right? And that actually got me excited regarding the business and the technology side of the product management, right? And because I did this internship, in the second year summer, I got a chance to work as a program management intern at Doubtnut. So it was mostly related to content. Uh, for 1 month of my time, I helped them create some quality content on chemistry because I was good at chemistry. And then they told me that, okay, you can now take up other roles in the program management, which was basically bridging the gap between the content team and the engineering team, right? So you set up a lot of processes, you see which all content is performing well, why is it performing well, why isn't performing well, what needs to be done, right? So a lot of data due diligence, a lot of cross-functional collaboration in the engineering and the content team. So summer intern in my second year was again a breakthrough for me because I did one internship and I did a second internship in kind of related domain, right? So therein at Doubtnut, when I was working as a program management, I got a chance to interact with a lot of product managers in Doubtnut who were working on solving the key user problem. So therein, I actually got to know that, okay, there is a role called product management, which is an amalgamation of business, technology, and the user experience, right? And I interacted with them, got to learn a lot about product management from them. But it was just a theoretical experience for me, learning about the product management part because I was working as a program management, right? So from there, I got excited about the product management. I did a lot of research. I saw what all skills are needed in order to get into this role, right? And I pursued those skills. I'll be walking you guys through what those skills are, right? So I'll just walk you through afterwards. So I acquired those hard skills, and I ensured that I have those skills because those are the bread and butter to be in the product role, right? And because I had this couple of good internship experience in my third year winter break, I got a chance to work with an awesome team of at Uber Eats, right? So I interned with them as a product analyst, and this opportunity again came via LinkedIn. I saw the hiring manager throwing a post on LinkedIn that I'm looking for a product analyst to join in my product in my Uber Eats team, and I reached out to them. And because I had somewhat relevant experience working before via a couple of internships, my profile was bold enough to be chosen for. I obviously aced the interview because I was highly motivated and I had all the necessary skills needed, right? So I interned with Uber. That gave me a very, very handsome brand tag on my resume, plus the experience part, right? And that completely changed the course for me. That completely changed the ball game altogether for me. Now I have a very reputed firm in my resume. People valued my resume. So whatever internship that I applied next, I interned with Vedantu, one of the subsidiaries called Instasol in my third year summer intern, which was again a very good experience. And then I did subsequent internships as well to confirm my interest. So in a journey, if I say, my journey is divided into three parts. First was exploratory part, in which I explored that what needs to be done, what are the things that I'm excited about. I find those things, right? And once I find those things that excited me, I validated it via internship, right? And once I did the internships, I know that I'm very excited in the product space and I want to take it as a full-time career. So I confirmed my interest. So three steps: exploration, validation, and confirmation, right? So I followed these three process. So I experimented it out, what things needs to be done, what things not to be done. I validated it via working as an intern in a lot of other startups, so that I get to know what actual product management is all about, except from all the theoretical part, right? And then I confirmed my interest, and by the end of my final year, I had 3 offers coming in from 3 different companies to work as an associate product manager, right? So that has been my journey, filled with ups and downs, but figuring out in life what needs to be done is very important, which I did. I don't know how I did, but I did. So that's the first part. Second part that I want to speak about here is, how you prepare for internship and full-time roles, right? A lot of people have reached out to me on LinkedIn stating that, Bhaiya, I want to get started in product management. What all things do I need to learn, right? So there are some sort of hard skills which are necessary to get into the product, right? While working in the product management, data will be your best friend. Okay. So you need to be good with the data. I mean, data crunching and interacting with the database, right? So you need to be very good at advanced MS Excel. And with advanced MS Excel, I mean VBA, all the H lookups, V lookups, and all the important functions that will help you crunch the data to bring the best insights out of it. And the second is SQL, structured query language, which if you learn this SQL, you'll be able to interact frequently with the database, right? Because data is stored in database. You need to have some technology with which you'll be able to interact with the database and get the relevant data, whichever you want, right? So SQL is a medium that will help you to interact with the database, right? So I did multiple courses on advanced MS Excel. I did courses on SQL to make sure that I'm 100% on this hard skills, which is the bread and butter of being in the product domain. At the end of the session, I'll be sharing the links of those courses as well so that you guys can walk through it, right? And once I had this hard skills, then it's all about, giving the interviews, seeing where you are lacking, right? Because I gave multiple interviews in which I was rejected, right? But one good thing that I did was, I took failures as a learning. Once I got rejected in one of the internship, I did my due diligence. I talked with the hiring manager, sent them a message on LinkedIn or via email that why am I rejected. So they pointed out few things, that you are not good at product thinking, let's say. You are not good at, let's say, communication management, right? So there are a lot of feedbacks that they passed on to me. So I worked on those feedbacks. I see many people, they just give interviews, and if they are not selected, they don't give a fuck. But don't do that. Learn from your failures. If you're rejected, there are some things that you lack as to why you got rejected. So it's very important for you, to it's very important for you to learn those failures, right? So after an interview, if you're rejected, do reach out to the hiring manager. Tell them, why am I rejected? They will help you definitely with some of the pointers that you lacked this, and then work on it, right? So that's how I prepared myself for the internships and the full-time opportunities. I first mastered the hard skills, which are the bread and the butter. And then I start doing a lot of mock interviews, lot of real-time interviews, applied with a lot of firms, ultimately got rejected a lot of time. But I seeked learnings from those failures. I reached out to the hiring managers on LinkedIn via email, told them, just let me know whatever I'm lacking. And I worked on it. So you need to work on the guesstimate, product thinking abilities. And this will not come in a blink of an eye. This will come with practice, right? This will come with practice. You have to practice a lot of guesstimate questions, lot of problem statement solutioning, right? In an interview, they will check, how your problem solutioning skills is, right? So this will come with practice. As and when you do mock interviews with your friends, with the other product managers, you will improve, right? So there's no such shortcut process on this. You have to learn by doing. You will fail a lot of time, but you will eventually improve, right? So that's how I, prepared around my internships and the full-time roles, and that helped me, crack a lot of a lot of good roles. I will also talk about, my job application strategy at the end of the session, how I actually applied for jobs and internships, given the fact that IIT Bhubaneswar is a tier 2 IIT, not and we don't have a lot of companies coming in for these APM or PM roles, right? So you need to eventually seek out off campus. So I have a job application strategy that I'll be sharing at the end of the session, right? The third thing that I want to talk about in the experience in the field is, how has been my experience so far? I have just one word that I'll say: incredible. Uh, the sense of pride and fulfillment that I feel when I see that my solution is actually simplifying a user's life and helping a business to grow is just immense, right? When I look at the solutioning that I did, and when I see that development and that solutioning is actually helping the business to grow, is actually helping the users to solve their pain point, and actually increasing the metrics, the sense of fulfillment and the achievement that I get from those is immense, right? So I have just one word: I'm loving every second of being in this domain. Then the experience has been incredible so far, and there's a lot to come, right? So this pretty much covers the my experience in the field, right? The next thing that I want to talk about I know you guys might be having a lot of questions while I'm speaking. So just do hold on to your questions. We at the end we might take a few of your questions, but we'll take it at the end of the session, right? The next thing that I want to talk about is, hurdles faced, right? So like I mentioned, in applying for jobs, what all hurdles do I faced, right? So you guys are well aware that, given the fact that, IIT Bhubaneswar is a tier two growing IIT, there are not a lot of companies who come to hire for APM roles, associate product manager, product analyst, product managers. Companies usually don't come in our college for these all roles, right? So how do you come up with a strategy for job application, right? Also, just want to ensure that during my time, 2018, there were less to zero alumni in product management because it was a fairly new domain in the Indian startup ecosystems, right? So therein, at that point in time, I didn't had any in-house alumni support, which is not the case with you guys. Now you guys have, people like me, people like Shivam Sethi. He's one of my close colleague, 2021 pass out only, who is working as a product manager at Navi. He has an awesome experience. You have Deepak Soni, working as product manager at Flyfin AI. You have a lot of alumni. You have people, and even not alumni in the college only. If you see in the final year, you have people like Sarang Mehrotra, you have people like Bhumika Reddy. I have personally interacted with them. They have good product, thinking and design skills, right? So you have a lot of supports now, coming from the alumni front, right? You can reach out to people in the fourth year only, be it Sarang or be it other people who are there in the product domain, right? So they can eventually help you out. So at during my time, there was no such alumni support coming in, but now you guys have a lot of peeps, a lot of alumni, a lot of fourth year folks who are actually very interested in product. So leverage that, right? Reach out to them, ask them what needs to be done, plan a strategy and work on it, right? So coming back to my job application strategy, so I majorly relied on off campus because I knew that on campus I'm not getting anything because the companies are there's no company coming in for internships. First thing, in the full-time placement, there might be a company or a two. During my time, only Virohan came, and I was the only hired. Okay, one company came, they had only one people. So there is a dearth of companies coming in. So you need to know how to apply for off-campus opportunities. So for the off-campus opportunities, you need to keep an eye on LinkedIn, and for internships, you can keep an eye on Internshala, right? But one of the common mistake that a lot of people do is they follow the herd. For example, if you see a job posting, you will go ahead on the website and you will click on submit and you will submit your application and you will feel that I have submitted the application, I might get a call. No, you won't. There are 10,000 thousands and thousands of folks who are following the same method, right? So what is there which will differentiate you apart from your IT tag, right? What is there that will differentiate you? So for me, I never followed this process. I never went ahead and applied on career websites. On the contrary, I applied via referrals. Okay. And how I applied via referral is for example, if I know that Kita Bailey is hiring for a product manager and I want to apply for that role, I started reaching out to people who are actually working in the product management space at Kitabeli. I started reaching out to them on LinkedIn and stating that, hey, this is my previous experience. I'm interested in the role. Will you be open for referring me? And most of the time, because I had a solid portfolio, a bunch of internships that I did, they were more than happy to refer me, right? And referral adds a lot of weightage on your platform, on your application, right? I can explicitly say this based on my experience, recruiting and growing the team at the startup, that referral do carries a lot of weight on your application. The chances of landing into an interview will be increased drastically if you apply via referral, right? So my major source of application came via referral only. I started reaching out to people on LinkedIn, told them that, are you willing to refer me? I showed them what all works that I did previously, right? And if you message 10 people, 5 people will reply, 2 people will end up referring you. And once you get referred, uh, you know 20 to 30% of the job application weightage is done, right? So uh, just to conclude, referral adds a lot of weightage on your application when you apply to PM roles, either for internships, either for full-time roles, right? So don't follow the herd. Okay, don't just go ahead and apply on career website. You may not get a call for majority of the times, right? So do prioritize this referral thing, right? Start reaching out to people on LinkedIn who are working in the product management space in the company, and tell them that, hey, this is my previous works that I have done. Are you open to referring me? If they say no, well and good. There are a lot of people working in the product space in that company. Do reach out to them. Someone will end up referring you, right? Okay, because as of now, alumni at IIT Bhubaneswar has not product people in second year or third year. You have people like Sarang Mehrotra sitting in the final year. You don't need to reach out to me. You reach out to him. He's a damn good guy, right? So you need to understand what sort of work that he has done, what sort of work that other senior folks have done, and reach out to them. Seek help, right? And this will immensely help you going forward, right? So just to conclude, the message that I want to give is just do what you love. Do enough due diligence before taking up a final year role in the final year, because that will change the trajectory of your life. If you do a harsh or rash decision, you might end up regretting it. Just don't do that. I have seen a lot of people doing that. And the last thing is, reach out to your alumni, reach out to your seniors, seek help. We are here to help you so that we as a fruitful community at IIT Bhubaneswar grows out, right, in the product management space. So this is the message that I want to give. The next thing that the event team has asked me, which is again a bullshit question, is what is your inspiration? So if I say, guys, in my personal experience, again, take it with a pinch of salt. This is a common question that many people ask, right? What is your inspiration? For me, inspiration is bullshit. I'm not driven by inspiration, taking inspiration, or taking motivation, right? I'm not driven by that. I'm driven by goals. I have certain goals that I have set for me, that by 25, I have to be at this stage of my career. By 30, I have to be at this stage of my career. And by 35, I have to be at this stage of my career in product management, right? I have set the goals for me, right? And I'll do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. I will take whatever help to achieve that goal, right? So if you're driven by inspiration, if you're driven by motivation, that might fade away after some time. So you have to be driven by goals, right? Waking up every day and doing the same shithole jobs, that will take you to heights. Okay, I have seen people that, I'm feeling less motivated today, I'll not work. No, I don't do that. Even though I'm less motivated, I'll wake up, I'll do the same shit again, and that will compound over a period of time, and that will take me to the greater goals, right? So always be driven by goals, not inspiration or motivation, because that might fade away. But if you have certain goals in your life, just be committed to that role and do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes. It might seem for you guys that product management was laid out to me on a platter. No, it wasn't. I worked my ass off doing that internship in my second year, third year, and fourth year. I put those 14 to 16 hours of my day learning this space. So I have done a lot of work in order to be where I am, right? So there's no shortcut for hard work. You have to put in the hard work. You have to put in the consistent hard work in order to achieve that goal, right? So always be driven by goals. Set up a goal for you that in final year you want to get placed as an associate product manager at some of the budding startups or a grown as startup, right? Set up that goal and do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. Don't be shy away in asking for help, right? Do whatever it takes. So just be driven by goal, not by inspiration or motivation, right? So this is what I wanted to just talk about, inspiration. And the next thing is a pretty good thing. Alumni event team asked me to share about my college life. So, like I mentioned, I'm supremely grateful to the community at IIT Bhubaneswar. I got to know some of the best brains out there in India, and most of the learnings for me has been outside the classroom. Okay, I never paid much of the attention in classroom, except for the few of the courses which were damn interesting. But for me, most of the learning has happened outside the classroom, be it participating in inter IT tech meet, be it participating in sports activities which helped you build that spirit among the people, being active, taking a lot of positions of responsibility. That actually helped me to increase my people skill, which is very much beneficial in whatever roles that you are in, right? So my college life, apart from academic has been superb. I made a lot of good friends, friends for life. And I got to learn a lot of things, right from my third year when I took up the student internship coordinator position. And then in the final year, I ended up heading the student placement team, right? So a lot of managerial things that I learned, a lot of technological, lot of other, problem solving ability that I learned. Super grateful for the community of IT Bhubaneswar, which helped me not to achieve that, right? So you might have heard this quote: you are the average of the 5% that you spend your time with, right? So I spended my time during my 4 year revolving majorly around, 3 or 4 folks whom I know that they are ambitious enough. you know if you want to take up some name, one of my friends, Somu Kumar, there's another friend, Nishant Maurya, for me, another friend, Neeraj, Beat Gaurav. They were the people, whom I always surrounded myself, because when I was at down, they actually helped me to get up. Okay. They made sure that I'm focused, and get whatever I'm desired at IT Bhubaneswar. So just surround yourself with good people. Okay. And make sure that you have set up some goal and do whatever it takes to achieve that, right? And don't shy away in taking positions of responsibility. Positions of responsibility will actually help you. It gives you an edge in interviews, because companies do like people you know who have experience managing a set of people, because ultimately at some point in time in your career you will be managing people, right? So you need to have good people management skills, right? So that is all about my college life. Super helpful, and incredible experience that I had. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about before I pass on to the events team is suggestions on how you guys can proceed for product management. I know I have talked this before, but there are 3 things that you need to do. First, master the hard skills that is actually needed to being in this domain. And like I mentioned, data crunching skills, interacting with database via SQL is a necessity. Those are the bread and butter of being in this role, right? So just master the hard skills first. And I have collated a set of the links that I pursued. I will be sharing at the end of the session. You guys can go ahead and pursue the same course, because I'm recommending it. It's a brilliant courses that will help you master those hard skills. Once you have mastered that hard skills, start doing a lot of mock interviews. Reach out to alumni who are working in product domain, so that you can set up a mock interviews. Start doing a lot of internship interviews or product interviews, because you will fail, and that's completely all right. But the most important thing over here is you should learn from your failure. Like I mentioned, let's say you get rejected in one of the rounds. Reach out to the hiring manager. Tell them that please let me know the drawbacks that I had as to why I got rejected. Most of the time they will be happy enough to give you some points that Amit, you lagged at this point. Amit, you lagged at this point. Note it down, work on it, so that next time when the same questions comes in, you have relevant enough experience to answer that question, right? So always seek learnings from the failures. This is very, very essential. I'm telling you, getting into product space is not that easy, based on my experience. But if you keep on learning from from your failures, if you keep on learning from your failures, one day or another you're going to be a great person to be in the product space, right? So so like I mentioned, master the hard skills. After mastering the hard skills, reach out to alumni for mock interviews, start giving actual interviews, either for internships or full-time roles, and seek learning from failures, right? And so apart from that, I also have uh, and I have seen most of people, yeah, and this is very interesting thing. I've seen a lot of people that they have read about product management, they had some misconception, and that got them excited about the product role. And they think that reading the theory, they'll be able to crack the interview. Let me say it straight. No, you won't be able to. Theory is another part. Applying it practically while working in industry is a completely different ball game altogether. Okay. So you need to have, either you should have a very good portfolio in which you have done a lot of projects, a lot of product tear downs. So if you have that, well and good. But if you don't have that, do take up internships. That is very much essential, which will help you to get to know the ABCs of the product management space, and will ultimately help you landing a full-time role at the end of the 4th year or 5th year for dual folks, right? So practical is always more important than theory. Okay. So So always prioritize practical experience over theoretical experience. I have seen a lot of people reading blogs and they think that if I read a book about product management, I'll be good to go. No, let me tell you, you won't. So always prioritize practical experiences, either working on the own projects, either working on internships, either collaborating with people. Always focus on practical experience instead of theoretical experience, right? So this is what I have, a few takes. We are running short of time. I would really want to, cut short, and I would urge Akshita to lead up the session.
Yeah, so basically we received like a lot of responses, and like a lot of questions from people. So one of the things that was mostly asked was, well, like a lot of people wanted to know if it was possible for like students to crack PM positions in like the top companies, like super appealing, Facebook, Google, Salesforce, and so on.
Got it.
And so like the question is like, what, like as an undergrad, how do you land a role like that? Like, do you have an edge over like the other competitors?
Got it. So look, guys, I, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about Mang companies, Meta, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, right? So look, in short, the answer is no. Okay, in short, the answer is no. Because look, they have a very defined criteria, okay, that you need to either have a very solid experience in the industry or you need to be a top tiered MBA folks. They have this very hard criteria. Exceptions always exist. I won't deny that. But if you see majority of the undergrad folks coming out, they may not be working. I'm talking about undergrad, not postgrad. I'm talking about undergrad. Okay, most of the undergrad people who are interested in PM domain, it's very hard for them to crack these product roles at Mang companies. Okay, like I mentioned, Meta, Amazon, Apple, Google, Netflix, right? They have a very hard criteria, and I have seen very less people doing that. Exception do exist, but you can't rely on exception to make a theory, right? So, yeah. So my suggestion over here is, why to look at Mang companies? Why do you want to work on that? There are a lot of other growing startups, multi-billion dollars companies like Flipkart. They will hire you as an APM. There are companies like Ola which will hire you as an APM. There are a lot of good companies in India which will hire you as a product analyst or an APM, and you can learn these things while being on job while getting a good salary. So why not do that, right? So in short, if I want to say, it's pretty hard to crack these companies coming directly out of undergraduate degree. Yeah, if you have exceptions, always exceptions are always there. Okay, I'm not denying this fact. Exceptions are always there, but don't generalize the exception. Okay, so start working in some of the fast growth startups, right? And build up your start your product management journey from there. Have relevant experience in the industry. Meanwhile, earn a handsome salary, and then apply for those roles. That will eventually help, right? Yeah.
And okay, so like this was followed by like another popular question that was like until now we heard what goes into like becoming a PM. How do you land the role?
Yeah.
So this begs the question, like what is it to be a PM? Like,
Okay.
could you tell us a day in your life so we know what actually happens?
Got it. So this is again a very common question that I've been asked with a lot of aspiring PM folks. So look, let's take my example. I'll walk you through what my a day in a life of a core product management team at Kitabili is, right? So I start very early in the morning, around 8:30 IST, because 8:30 IST is 10 AM JKT, Jakartan time. Jakarta is 90 minutes ahead of IST, right? So overall, right? So I spend 15 to 30 minutes of my time seeing how the metrics are performing, what's the GMV, what's the user acquisition, what's the retention, what's the average size per order. So I spend my first 15 to 30 minutes looking at the data and seeing how things are performing, how the features that I am ideating performing, right? So that's the first 30 minutes of the day. It is followed this, now this 30-minute is followed by stand-up call. Stand-up call is basically a kickoff call in the morning where you interact with QAs and the engineers specifically to see how the development of the features is ongoing, whether developers are facing any blocker, is there any blocker overall, so you try to mitigate those blocker, right? So overall, a generic update call where developers will tell you that once over authority you won't be able to mark, right? People feel that, being as a PM, I'm the CEO of a product, I'll manage people. Those are bullshit. You don't have any authority. It should be influence over authority. And influence will come via backing your insights with data. by a vacuum you need focus work, right? Probably writing some product requirement documents that need a lot of focus, right? Looking at the data, generating some exploratory analysis, right? So I block some time for those at the end of the day, which is working for me fine. It may not work for you. For me it works fine. So in general, looking at the metrics, okay, yeah, looking at starting is right, yeah, looking at the metrics, then doing a stand-up call with developers to see the progress of the sprint, then blocker mitigation, then cross-functional collaboration, then setting up a me time where you think, where you write PRDs, where you look at the data, and then you wrap up the day. And I have a screenshot. I just want to walk you through how my calendar looks like. Don't get scared. It's very scary, but that's how the product management is. Okay. So let me just walk you through. Let me know if you're able to see my screen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
good.
this is how a typical week for me looks like, right? Filled with calls, filled with update, one-on-one, cross-functional collaboration calls, grooming calls, some priority-based tasks. So this is how packed my calendar is, and this is bounded to happen. PM is a very challenging roles that comes with a lot of responsibilities. You are responsible for a lot of things in a company, especially when you're working in a startup where things are moving high paced, right? So this is how my calendar looks like. I know it's fucked up. It's gonna remain the same for whatever time that I can think of, but I am loving every second of being in this domain, and that's why I'm able to cope up with this, right? So let me just remind you guys, product management is a challenging role which comes with a lot of responsibilities, and if you're not able to take up responsibility and challenges, better not be in this domain. Yeah.
Yeah. As you mentioned, this is a very demanding role
Yeah.
and like super intimidating
Yeah.
from the looks of it too.
Yeah.
So here's like another like a general fact is that there's like a growing trend for the like in demand for product managers.
Mhm.
And like as you mentioned, you need a lot of experience to step into this domain. And despite this, the opportunities available to like students out there are like really limited.
Yeah.
And like you can see this in the internship drive you're currently having.
Yeah.
Absolutely no opportunities.
Yeah.
So how is like why is this disparity occurring?
Got it. Let me counter question you. Okay. How many ideas do we have? 23. Okay. 23 ideas we have in India. I'm just countering you with a different question. Okay. You have 23 ideas in India. How many seats do you have? 16,000 or so, let's say. But what's the application rate? 10 lakh, 15 lakh, right? Now, other people will say, let's open a lot of IITs. Why not? Let's do that. Let's open a lot of IITs. But if you see the the amount of knowledge that is concentrated in these 23 IITs, right? Only the person who has that dedication to get in should get that, right? So again, I'm telling you, PM role will comes with a lot of responsibility. Everyone is not made for a PM role. You will eventually realize that, right? And PM role is very strategic in a company, so that's why it's very, the kind of openings that you see in a company is very less. PMs to dev ratio is sometimes it goes as high as 1:6, 1:8, right? So you need very less strategic thinkers, but you need a lot of folks to deploy that strategy via code, right? That's why you see a lot of developers opening, but very less PM opening. So given the fact that PM is a very strategic position, okay, and it requires, and it's not meant for everyone. Very few people are built to be in this domain, and that's why the competition is very high. Everyone wants to get into the PM role, good for salary. They have misconception that you'll be the CEO of the product. That's bullshit. They think that I'll have the authority. It's bullshit. It's always influence over authority, right? So the competition is immense because PM role is, if you ask me, PM role is very fulfilling. Everyone wants to get into this domain, but not everyone is made to be in this domain. Okay. Similarly, not everyone is meant to be in IITs, right? Like you guys are fortunate enough, right? So I hope you're able to relate that chronology that I posted with a counter question, right? Not everyone is meant to be in that domain, but everyone will try to be in that domain, and only the eligible folks will get through. That's why you see in a single product management opening in a company, you will have thousands and thousands of applications coming in, and most of them are redundant, no experience whatsoever. They think that they have everything, but at the end they don't have anything, right? So it's a role that comes with a lot of responsibility, a lot of strategic thinking. Not everyone is built for this role. You have to make yourself, you have to build yourself to be in that role. And not everyone takes this hard path, right? Everyone is looking for a shortcut. That doesn't happen in PM space, right? So that's the answer that I want to give for this question.
And that's a very crude analogy. Well put. Yeah. So for following this, the questions were like one of the major requirements, like while you prepare for PM, is like doing a lot of case studies and developing your product portfolio.
True.
So how do you approach problems like this, and like how do you go about solving these?
Got it. So for me, sometimes recruiters ask that what is your product portfolio? I send them my LinkedIn profile. That's my product portfolio. So look, either you do a lot of projects, lot of case studies, lot of personal projects, or you do a lot of internships. Both will work. I have seen both things working. There are people who doesn't do a lot of internships, but they have done a lot of case studies. They have done a lot of personal projects, and they have built up a website where they have put everything what they have done. Right. On the contrary, for me, I haven't worked on many of the personal projects, but I have worked a lot in the industry while working on your problem statement, and then you have to solve that problem statement, and that then you have to present it to them. Right. So do a lot of that. Uh, I'll urge Sarang to share his product portfolio. This guy has an awesome product portfolio, which I have seen. He has a website where he has put all his working. So that's a product portfolio for Sarang because he has done a lot of personal projects. He has also done a lot of internships. So he has clubbed everything. For me, personal projects take 20% of this take. Rest is all about experience. So for me, LinkedIn is my product portfolio, right? So either way will work.
Yeah, following that, that was like the theoretical part. So coming to like solving user problems, like in person,
Yeah.
do you have any experiences that stand out so we can like understand better?
Yep. So PM role is all about, it's kind of all about solving user pain points, and ultimately that will be linked to business goals. So one such experience that I can recall of is, like I mentioned to you guys, right? I'm working at Kita Belly. So Kita Belly is a social e-commerce firm based out in Indonesia, right? So we target tier 2 and tier 3 cities, probably the villages, and because of our business model, we are community led, right? So community is very closely knit in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So one of the problem that we faced in our, we have two apps. One is for user app and one is community leaders app. So one of the problem in the community leaders app that we faced was in the onboarding funnel. You have to input your name, you have to enter the phone number, get the OTP, and then there's a page that comes in where we ask you to enter your address. Address means the state, the city, the rural area, the pin code, the road addresses, so that we can reach out to you if we want, right? So we ask, and obviously for the order delivery. So we were asking them the address details in the onboarding funnel only, and and the onboarding flow only. And when I checked the funnel conversion, okay, guys, just give me 10 seconds. I have to open a door. Okay, so just give me 10 seconds. I'll be back.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, hey, you guys are able to hear me back?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I was saying that in our community leader application, so like I mentioned, there was a page where there was a page in the onboarding flow where you have to input your addresses, right? And when we saw the funnel conversion across the onboarding flow, we saw that 40% of the people are dropping off in the address details page. And it's a huge loss for us because if you end up downloading the app but didn't end up registering, I'm basically wasting my cost for registration, right? So it was a huge drop for us. And we were quite amazed that how come people doesn't know their home addresses, right? But again, now comes the best part. Because I knew my users' motivation, demography, and geography, like I mentioned, our target user is what? Tier 2 and tier 3 cities in Indonesia. And mostly our users are housewives, old age women who are looking for additional source of income. So they are not that tech savvy in nature. And they might not know everything regarding the addresses like house number, probably the pin code, right? They may not know because they are not that tech savvy, right? So I came up with, look, why I was able to understand the problem statement here and I come up with a solution is because I knew what my users motivation, what my user geography and demography is. I have done a lot of user analysis. I have done a lot of research. We have a UX researcher team at Kitabeli who does that. So I know enough about my users so that I can see where the problem is. So because that they are not that tech savvy in nature, I knew that entering a house number, pin code, everything will be a very hassle for them, right? So how to solve this? I came up with a quick solution. I came up with two solutions. One, there is an awesome company called Google, right? They have something called Google Map. With a click of a button, you'll be able to have the longitude and latitude of the addresses, right? With a click of a button, that's it, right? Why let other people input their addresses? Get the location if you want, right? Get the longitude and latitude. And per API call for Google Map is very less. It doesn't adds a lot to the cost, right? And it simplifies the user experiences a lot. In tier 2 and tier 3 cities, you know, people might be very skeptical giving their Google addresses, but you have to convey those idea that and I did this via A/B testing. Okay, so 50% of the user were able to see the Google Map thing, let's say, and 50% of the people were able to see the normal flow. And then you see the funnel conversion. Google Map funnel conversion was far higher, right? The other solution that we deployed as a third set was we didn't ask them the address in the onboarding funnel because we don't immediately need their address, right? Let them register without the address, let them explore the platform. And now they will, because they will find the worth of our platform, they will be more motivated to input the address at the latter stage, right? So I delayed the gratification of this address detail page latterwards, right? And it worked perfectly well for us. We saw that onboarding funnel jumped back to the 70 or 80% of the conversion, and a lot of people were entering the addresses either via Google Map or either via inputting it manually afterwards, not in the onboarding flow, right? So I removed the hassle from the onboarding flow via with a click of a button or with a delayed gratification. And I was able to come up with this solution only when I knew what my users geography and demography is, what their motivation is, what their tech savviness is, right? So understanding the user who is on their platform is very important. You should know what their ideal motivation is, how much tech savviness do they have, how's the geography, how's their demography, right? If you know that, you'll be able to ace these problems very, very easily, right? So this is one of such example, that I wanted to give to you guys.
Yeah, and one of the other questions that we got was, what's in store for the PMs that have already made it? Like, how do you evolve
Yeah.
after a certain stage?
Okay, I have a pretty quick answer to that. So India's PM product management culture is just getting started. I'm telling you again, it's just getting started. We are very much behind the product management culture that is there in the Silicon Valley. Okay, we are just getting started. So a lot of opportunity coming out, tons of growth that you can do, and obviously it comes with ton of good salary that you can get. Okay, so India's PM journey is just getting started. And if you want to ride this journey, come join us. It's going to be a great journey moving forward. But let me just tell this in one way. India's PM journey is just getting started. Journey in the following years.
Followed by that, so people are like super interested to know what are the interview questions that are commonly come up, and what it is that the recruiters like look for to make you stand out.
Got it. So I would answer this in four part. Okay. First obvious question that you will get is why product management? Okay. So here you need to talk about your journey. How did you came across product management? What all efforts that you have put in your product management that made you excited about this domain, right? So the first obvious question is that you will get that I have got multiple times is why product management. The second is the question will be related to hard skills in the cells, advanced MS Excel, data crunching ability, problem solutioning, guesstimates, SQL. So these are the hard skills that you need to ace, right? The third thing is people skills. And that's why I paid a lot of emphasis on positions of responsibilities. Okay. They want, because product management is a cross-functional collaboration role. You need to be very good with the people skills. And one such demonstration that you have people skill in college is via taking part in fest, taking some PORs, right? So that's why I paid a lot emphasis on taking PORs. That will help you stand out. Okay. So the third question that they will check is your people skills, how you are able to interact with people, how you are, influencing them over authority, right? And the last thing that they will check is data driven, how much data driven you are. Okay, because all the startups currently focus on product led growth. Okay, and data is very, very crucial for that. So how good you are in taking data driven decisions. Okay, that is something that companies will take. And in order to answer that, again, you have to talk about your journey where you have taken data driven decisions in real life. You have a lot of questions coming in, so have this habit of taking it data driven. Okay, there are a lot of scenarios in real life where you can actually put your emotions aside and look it via data. Okay, and that is the skill that you need to have. Intuition and emotion may not work in product management, but data will for sure. Okay, that's why companies focus on being data driven. So four things: why product management, whether you have hard skills or not, whether you have people skills or not, and then the last is, are you data driven or not, right? So these are the classic questions that you'll get. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like you mentioned all the analytical tools that we need, like SQL and everything. What is the technical knowledge that you have to possess?
Look, what I have look this technical knowledge varies. Okay, it look, because let's say if you're working on a startup whose product is in AI and machine learning, let's say, or you're working in a company called Amazon Web Services, AWS, then you need to know the technicalities in and out, right? Technical knowledge should be, and they will have this in an interview, they will ask you a lot of technical questions, because you are working in a tech enabled company, a company which has a product in the tech only, so you need to have a complete understanding of the tech. But on contrary, there are a lot of other businesses, e-commerce, social commerce, you have a lot of startups coming in where the focus of the product manager is on the business and the user side. Therein you don't need to have the complete technological understanding, because your product is not a your product is not into the technology space. Yeah, you do integrate technology to simplify the user experience, but overall product is not into AR, VR or AI, right? E-commerce is not AR, VR or AI, right? So it depends on what role you are applying, right? For the business and the user experience role, if you ask me, my technical knowledge, I would rate it out as 4 out of 10, not greater than that. But I know people who are working as technical product manager and their technical skills are 10 out of 10. They're able to interact fluently with developers and other stuffs. I'm also able to interact, but not at that level, because my concern is not on the technological side. My concern is the business and the user side, right? So it depends on what roles you're applying for, and the technicality requirement will shift accordingly. So this, you need to be very cautious while applying for roles. You have to read out the JD properly, see what they are asking for the roles, clarify this in the interviews as well, right? So yeah.
So, another question that came up a lot is, what are some of the misconceptions of PM? Some commonly used myths. Yeah.
Got it. So, like I mentioned, there are few of the general misconceptions that I have seen people, being in the product management, they possess is, you think you're the CEO of the product. That's bullshit. You are not. You don't have the authority, right? People feel that while being in the PM role, I'll manage a lot of people. I'll tell them to do and they will do. No, they won't. They will counter question you. There has to be influence over authority, not the other way around. And influence will come when you back up your ideas with data, when you back up your ideas with research, when you back up your ideas based on the changes that is happening in the market, right? So it's always influence over authority, not the other way around. And you are not the CEO of the product because you don't have the authority, right? So these are the biggest two misconceptions that I have seen. Other misconception that I have seen is that, this is not a misconception, but this is kind of a very bad thing. People try to get into product management only because it is offering a great salary. You shouldn't do that. No, if you're not knowing the ABCs of the product management, ultimately you will not end up getting into the product role, that's for sure. But many people are just driven to product management because they feel that I'll end up getting a good salary. So this is also a weird connection that I have seen a lot of folks, who have reached out to me. So this shouldn't happen. It should come from inner you. There has to be a there has to be a motivation, there has to be a goal based motivation coming in from inside, that I want to be in this domain. That's why the question why product management is very crucial in an interview. The way you answer that will decide the flow of the rest of the interviews. I usually answer it by sharing my journey. If you see my journey, I have actually solved a problem in my life, right from the second year, when I was depressed, I didn't know what to do. I figured out what to do. That's a problem solving in my own real life. What can be a good example for that? Right. So I usually sell my story in this question, why product management, where I tell them I took data driven decision, I explored, I verified, and then I confirmed. Right. So I have solved a problem in my own life. And problem solving is all about product management. So what's a good story can be? So that's how I sell myself in the interview. So you need to know how you sell yourself, how you sell your journey.
Also, what are some of the mistakes that you made while preparing for this role that maybe we can skip ahead and avoid?
Yeah, sure. So there are three things that I want to talk about. First is, before applying for roles or before asking for referral, I used to see the job description of a opening, and I used to feel that if I'm not 100% in job description, I shouldn't apply for that role, right? But this was a one of the bigger misconception for me that got cleared as and when I got into the product role. You need not to be 100% of what is mentioned in the JD. If you're around 50-60%, you're good to go. Because if you're 100% of the JD, then that role doesn't have anything for you to learn, right? So don't get ambushed by seeing the requirements in the job description. Don't do that. If you feel you have 50-60% what is being there, what is there in the job description, go ahead and apply for that role. I have applied for a lot of roles in which the requirement was far higher, and I posted around 50-60% only, but I ended up getting that role, right? So just don't be fooled by just seeing the job description and apply and not applying because you are not 100% fit. Don't do that. Even though you are 50-60% fit, go ahead and apply. The worst thing that can happen is that you will get rejected, but you will know why you got rejected. So that's a learning from failure as well, right? That's the first thing. Second thing is, I focused a lot on the hard skills. I thought that being a pro in SQL, being a pro in data crunching will get me APM roles. No, I focused a lot on the hard skills, and this is one of the biggest mistake. I didn't focus on soft skills, right? And once I start getting rejected in PM internship rounds, interview rounds, because I didn't have soft skills, how do I improve it? I took up a lot of PORs. I started taking student internship coordinator position. I started being active in alumni cell. I led the student placement team in my final year, right? I knew I was weak in soft skills, so started working towards it. Once you come up in the pure roles, you need to interact a lot with a lot of people, understand their motivation, and bring up with the solution, right? That helped me increase my soft skills. And in the final year, I was able to ace the roles very easily, right? So just don't just focus on hard skills. Soft skills are equally important, and pay enough emphasis on that. Taking a POR is a very good way in order to increase your people skills and obviously the soft skills, right? And the last thing is obviously learning from failure. This is the bread and butter for PMs. Okay, every time you get rejected from an interviewer, go ahead and ask them, why did you guys rejected me? And in most of the time they will be happy to share a liner or a two that, hey Amit, you missed out on this part. Hey Amit, this was a weekend for you. Work on that, so that next time when someone interviews you, you are confident on your failures, right? So learning from failure is utmost priority, what I can say. If you don't do that, I would say you don't deserve to be in the PM roles, because on the job, I fail a lot. 8 out of 10 projects fails may not give you a good thing, but that 2 projects which succeeds gives me the 80% advantage, right? So you'll fail a lot, but learning from the failure is equally important. And let's do that. If you want to do that, you'll be great in life. Yep.
So now we come up. This is like the last question for the evening.
Yeah.
So this ties up with the technical knowledge question that I posed.
Yeah.
So basically, PMs require like a lot of skill set across various industries, and like every role demands like a different set of skills.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you work on like each and every one of them? Like it's hard to prepare for like fintech or like food, like at the same time.
So look, what I have seen as of now, like I mentioned, if you're targeting a company whose product is completely into tech, driven by AI, ML. Let's say I'm talking about AWS. Let's say Amazon Web Services. It's a technical product altogether, right? So based on the companies that you are applying, the technicality requirements will change accordingly, right? If you might have seen or not, there are two different openings. One is for product manager and one is for technical product manager, right? Technical product management is more or less related to technology, making sure that the system is reliable, making sure that you are setting up the technology process that eases up the load, a lot of other things, right? So if you're applying for technical product manager roles, be 100% sure that you'll be tested a lot on the technology side. Or if you're applying for companies whose products are completely into the tech, example being AWS, right? You need to have the knowledge of those space. You need to have the technical knowledge of those space, right? And on the contrary, there are a lot of companies, for example, food e-commerce, social e-commerce, where the product management role, there's obviously a technical product management role as well, but there are also product manager roles that focuses on business and users only. That doesn't require that much of technical knowledge, right? If you are 30% or 40% into the technicalities, you'll be able to good to go. But in the technical product management roles, you need to be at least 80 to 90% of the technologies that those company possess, right? Because if you don't know the technology, you won't be able to add solutioning related to technology, right? So couple of differentiation, what I have seen: technical product management, user or business related product management, right? Growth product management. So these latter ones doesn't require those sort of technology, those sorts of those, that high amount of technical knowledge. But but the previous one, technical product management, do requires a lot of technical knowledge. So it depends on you. What are you interested about? Go ahead and pursue that. Yep.
So we're like running short of time, so I'll wrap this session up with like a brief thank you note. So thank you again for this very informative and educational session. So everyone here like truly appreciates this gesture, like you take drawing a roadmap out for us. So on behalf of the entire alumni cell and IDBBS, I would like to thank you for making this happen and dedicating enough and investing time. And also to all the listeners who tuned in today, thank you for your patience. So that's about it. Yeah.
Awesome. Guys, just want to remind again regarding the bonus and the gift that that I am giving out for all the attendees of this session. So ultimately, someone from the event team will be sending it out to you guys. But this is what the bonus order gift. It's a task-based bonus order gift. You need to do something in order to be eligible for this, right? So I hope you guys have taken notes. Post it out on LinkedIn or Twitter, tagging me over there, and make sure that it's a text-based post, not the image-based post, right? I will be selecting the top 5 authors of those posts based on the relevancy, whatever you have posted, and I'll be personally mentoring them over one-on-one calls, and I'll make sure that you guys end up being in product space if you are actually interested, right? And the deadline for this will be 27th September, 12:30 p.m. IST, and I'll be sending across the name of the authors to the alumni cell by 29th September, right? So I hope you'll be doing this. And look, again, iterating, the motivation behind this task is to get you guys started on LinkedIn and Twitter, which is very much beneficial in order to land an internship or a full-time role. These are the platforms which will help you to land into technology, land into product management roles, right? So if you are not being active on these platforms, you're not showcasing your talent or visibility. So do that. This will kickstart your LinkedIn or the Twitter journey as well. So that's why I came up with this task related to some benefits as well, right? So do that. Awesome.
I'll certainly circulate this around. So
Sure.
yeah,
Just drop in email to all the attendees. Let them
yes,
know all the details. Is there in the Excel sheet which I've shared with you, Akshita?
yes, I'll
Do
put
that.
it up for it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot, Amit, for the session.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarang. I hope it was insightful. It was my first time, so I tried my best to deliver whatever insights that I had and my learning, and I look forward to seeing great product leaders coming out from IT with PBS, so that we can le- we can have that hard impression in the market that IT Bhubaneswar is something that you need to go in to hire great product leaders, right? And that's what one of my goal is. And we together as a community can definitely do that because other ITs have done that as well, right? So let's do that. Yeah.
I just have a very short question. I
Sure.
won't take a lot of your time, like judging by the Slack notifications you're getting constantly.
Yeah.
Just like a quick question that I've seen a lot of positions coming out on LinkedIn and Twitter, but I've seen for a lot of remote companies out there,
Yeah.
like not considering the Indian startups. Let's say you consider startups based out of the US or Indonesia.
Mhm.
They prefer some other platforms. Like I've seen a lot of people use very specific platforms.
True.
So
True.
like you won't find them on LinkedIn or Twitter anywhere, and you look at the website and like I didn't even know that this existed in the first place.
Yeah.
Angel, like I figured out Angel a long time back, but like that I've seen that being used only for assignments right now. Angel Co. But like, what's your take on that? Like, do you look at job boards specifically? Like people have job boards on Twitter. Like, look at my job board, this job board. Or,
Yeah.
like, how do you approach like remote roles?
Got it. So look, it's true that some companies may not be there on LinkedIn or they don't have the enough visibility, but those are the for me those are the exceptions, and I don't make up my rules based on exception. Most of the companies out there, be it remote, be it full-time in office, they have relevant job postings on LinkedIn because I have got all my relevant PM internships, full-time roles, kind of linked to LinkedIn only. I saw a job posting over there. So I'm confident enough that you guys will be able to see that as well. It's true that remote job is on craze. People don't want to go on office because they have a lazy ass, I know. But there are very few companies who are hiring for remote roles, and hence the competition will be tough as well, right? So look, for me, LinkedIn is an awesome platform. If you ask me, take my $100K, invest in on LinkedIn, I'll do that. LinkedIn is an awesome platform. Okay. So I have found all my opportunities via LinkedIn. And that's why I'm a firm believer that LinkedIn is a platform that can satisfy your needs, given that you have necessary skills. Yeah.
Mhm. Right. So like, just to follow up, like, do you have a keep a lookout on career pages of like specific companies you want to target, or is it just LinkedIn?
No, true. Uh, as of now, I'm not looking for a change. I'm quite satisfied with my work. So it's true. When I start, let's say, given back in my final year, right? Final year when I was applying for different startups, I had a comprehensive list that, okay, these are the startups which are actually hiding. There are a lot of startups who are not hiding, so don't give a fuck to that. Okay. So there are a lot of startups who are hiding. So I curated a list based on obviously the job posting coming on their LinkedIn, right? I know that they're hiding. I created a list, and then I did the needful. I applied for those roles, kept a complete track that in this company I have reached out to this person gave me the referral, and if I failed, what is the learning, right? So my focus was completely on learning learning by failures, okay, and that has changed things for me, and that will definitely change things for you guys as well if you do so. Learning from failures is utmost priority, whether it's life or whether it's product management, right? So answering your question, I do have a dream list ready. I can show you, but I won't show you as of now. I'm not looking for a change. Yeah.
Thanks.
Awesome. I look. The session went for 90 minutes. It was a good experience. So if you guys have any further questions, do reach out to me on LinkedIn or Twitter or my email ID. Right? Do reach out to me. I'll be happy to take up any further questions. And meanwhile, Akshita, I would urge you that you send out the bonus gift task over an email to all the attendees so
Yes, of
that they can
course.
do the needful. And as and when if I shortlist top 5 authors, I will throw the list onto you guys, and we can probably form a WhatsApp group, and then I'll be start mentoring them one on one to make sure that they get into this rules.
Yes, of course. I'll do that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you again for everything.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you guys. It was a wonderful session. Thanks for having me. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.